Welcome to my channel, Your True Self. I'm Sarah, and today I'm going to be going through some of the books who are on my TBR list, and the ones that I've chosen today are ones which fall into a category which could be dubbed as self-help, although I really don't like that term. I prefer to think of them as books which either enhance wellness or well-being, or which help us evolve in some way. So you can call it self-help if you like. Like I say, I'm not really a fan of that term. So these are some books that I've pulled off my shelf, which I haven't read yet, which I'm looking forward to reading sometime soon in the future. So the first one is this book, which is called Rising Strong by Brene. And just trying to get the light, stop the light shining on that one. There we go. So for anyone who hasn't heard of Brene, check her out. She is amazing. She is a research professor who basically has dedicated her career to studying courage, vulnerability, shame, and she just blows me away every time I hear her speak. She became famous by doing a TED talk which got millions of views very quickly, and this was about vulnerability, and she basically says that until you have the courage to be vulnerable, then you can't step into the arena and be brave and be bold and get what you want. And I'll just read you the bit from the back of the book. So it says, when you're brave in life, sometimes you fall. Even though you want to get back up, the stories you tell yourself about your personal and professional struggles keep you stuck in a cycle of fear, self-doubt and regret. Rising Strong will help you challenge these stories so you can write your future. And it goes on to say that this is a very personal and practical guide to embracing fear and failure and creating a more courageous life. It builds on the groundbreaking research on vulnerability and daring and presents a powerful process to rise from falls, overcome mistakes, and face hurt in a way that brings more wisdom and meaning to your life. So basically, I think this is a great read for anybody because we all go through those times, and this is a really good way to help us gain strength and grow with those times. The next one is called, these are not showing up that well, there we go, Peace of Mind by Thich, Nhat, Hanh. And he is a Zen master who has written this book which basically says, in Peace of Mind, Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us that integrating body and mind is the only way to feel truly alive in each moment. Combining ancient Buddhist wisdom and current scientific thinking, he offers concrete practices for how to relieve stress and cultivate joy. Peace of Mind provides a foundation for understanding the principles of mind-body awareness and introduces critical tools for sustaining authentic well-being. So, really look forward to reading this one. I think this is something which I try and bring up at work because I'm a big fan of mindfulness, and I think that by being mindful and practicing mindfulness, it just brings so much more into our lives than we could possibly imagine without being mindful. So looking forward to this. This is some practical exercises as well as some teaching in here, so should be a good one. These books are all white, they're not really showing up very well. So this one has got an embossed title, so it's even harder to see. This is called Quiet by Cain. This came out a few years ago, and I remember hearing about it and getting it for Christmas, but I haven't yet started reading it. And it's got a subtitle called The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. I wouldn't necessarily class myself as an introvert, but I think I'm introvert, extrovert. Sometimes I can be introvert, sometimes I can be extrovert. And it basically says, for far too long, those who are naturally quiet, serious or sensitive have been overlooked. The loudest have taken over, even if they have nothing to say. It's time for everyone to listen. It's time to harness the power of introverts. It's time for quiet. So I just thought this would be quite interesting, especially for people who think it's a bad thing to be introverted or who struggle to be heard because they're quiet and they get shouted down. So it would be quite interesting to read. The next one is Loving What Is by Byron. I love this lady. I came across her probably 10 years ago when I heard Oprah interview her, and then I didn't come across her again for ages. And I've been watching a series of interviews that she does with Susan Stiffelman on parenting, and they have been so fantastic for me that I wanted to get one of her books. So she has devised a theory where she makes us ask 4 questions to challenge negative beliefs that we have, or to challenge thoughts that we have. So the first question is it true? The second question is, can you absolutely know that it is true? The third question is, how does it make you feel when you believe that thought? And the fourth question is, how would you feel, who would you be without that thought? And it's just a way of challenging our probably false beliefs that we have. And she then goes on to she has a website called thework.com, and she has on there this thing called a Judge Your Neighbour worksheet, which helps you work through those questions and helps you turn some statements around. And watching her work through an example is really amazing. So I'd really recommend watching her do that on YouTube. There's plenty of her work that you can see. So I really can't wait to read this. Loving What Is, again, about mindfulness and accepting of what is and living a mindful life. So the next one, this is called Getting the Love You Want by Harville, Hendrix and his wife Helen Hunt. And the reason I found out about this book is basically because I was listening to a podcast which I absolutely love, which is Alanis Morissette's podcast called Conversations with Alanis Morissette. And she is a wonderful person, and I love her music and I love her. And she does these brilliant podcasts where she will interview somebody in the field of usually psychology, and she just she's great at interviewing. And one of the couples that she had on the episode was the authors of this book, and it was published in the 80s. I hadn't heard of them, I hadn't heard of the book, but I thought they were amazing. They were talking about relationships, and I really love listening to them. So obviously I went to check out their book, and I just thought the reason I bought the book is because I invest quite a lot of time in learning about parenting and about watching stuff and reading stuff about the best way to parent. And I thought, why do I put so much effort into learning about parenting, and I've never bought a book about marriage or relationships or really done anything more than just do what comes naturally rather than actually learn how to be a better partner. So I thought that sounds silly that I'm investing all of this time and effort into the mother-child relationship and not really into the husband-wife relationship. So that's why I bought this book, and I'm looking forward to reading it. And the next one is this one here. This is called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And I heard about this book again from Oprah. I heard her interview him on Super Soul Sunday, which is one of my favourite programmes. And I'll read you the back, because I haven't read this book, so I can't tell you too much about it without reading the blurb. So, what would it be like to be free from limitations and soar beyond your boundaries? What can you do each day to find this kind of inner peace and freedom? The Untethered Soul offers a simple, profoundly intuitive answer to these questions. Whether this is your first exploration of inner space or you've devoted your life to the inward journey, this book will transform your relationship with yourself and the world around you. The Untethered Soul begins by walking you through your relationship with your thoughts and emotions, helping you uncover the source and fluctuations of your inner energy. It then delves into what you can do to free yourself from habitual thoughts, emotions, and energy patterns that limit your consciousness. Finally, with perfect clarity, this book opens the door to a life lived in the freedom of your innermost being. And when I heard him interviewed, he was a really, really lovely guy, and he was so relaxed, and he kept saying, whenever he gets stress come into his life, and he's been through some pretty stressful things in his life, he thinks to himself, just relax and lean away from it. Because half the time, or more than half the time, our mind is creating all this stress by thinking of what's going to happen, what has happened, what might happen, reliving something that has happened. And it's just thoughts. It has no power. It's just thoughts. And he basically just keeps saying, relax, lean away from it. And the number of times I've said that to myself since I heard him interviewed, and it really does help. It makes me stop when I'm caught up in this train of unhelpful thought and think, relax, lean away from it. And I love that. So I really can't wait to read this. And the final one in my TBR for today is this one. Again, not showing up so great. This is called The Wisdom of Sundays, and it's by Oprah, who is one of probably my all-time life hero. This is a collection of the best bits of her interviews that she's done on Super Soul Sunday, which, as I mentioned, is one of my favourite programmes in the world and discusses all my favourite things to discuss. And I love listening to the podcast of all the ones I haven't seen. So this is all the best bits. This is quite a new book. It's really beautiful. It's in lovely cloth cover, and it's got some really gorgeous pictures and things inside. So this is look, gorgeous pictures. Really looking forward to reading this one as well. I think I said that about every single book. I don't tend to read non-fiction, one after the other. I don't tend to read this kind of book just one after the other. I'm reading some fiction at the moment, so I'll be reviewing these books over the coming months, not all in one go. So that's what's on my wellness and evolutionary TBR. If you've read any of them, I'd be really interested to hear what you think, and if you've got any other recommendations along those lines, that would be great if you can comment. My blog is now up and running at www.yourtrueshelf.co.uk. You can also follow me on Twitter or on Instagram, and I'll put the links down in the description. So I hope that was interesting, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye!